A very, very good evening and a warm welcome to everyone here on board. I would like to welcome you all for the day three of the 3-day national webinar series on innovative business management practices hosted by Thakur College of Science and Commerce, Department of Management Studies, BMS. I welcome you everyone over here. This entire series of innovative business management practices has been conceived by us, keeping in mind the changing scenario. The world is changing, and innovation is the only way that any organization can look into the future and survive a whole range of disruptions. One of those disruptions right now is COVID-19, a situation that is going on, and virtually it is actually hampering entire global affairs, businesses, education. Basically, across all sectors, there has been an unprecedented impact, which is going to be on a long-term basis. What you can only know right now is that this challenge calls for humanity to come together and requires collaborative thinking and, of course, innovative approaches. Thus comes up the theme of innovative business management practices. So I would welcome you all to and welcome you, Sir Dr. Hiren Dand, to preside over the day three of the webinar series. The sub-theme of today being rights of e-content. The enforcement of social distancing, lockdowns and other measures in response to COVID-19 pandemic has led customers to ramp up online shopping, a social media use, internet, teleconferencing, and streaming of videos and films. This has resulted in spikes to B2C sales and an increase in the B2B as well. This is, of course, very much obvious considering the point that we are all in the lockdown and all sailing in the same sector. Education is not far away from here. All schools, colleges in India have moved to the living rooms and into mobile phones and computers. Nothing has a more profound impact on online activity than this change. School assignments are being handed out on Google platform, on Google Classroom. Meetings are happening on Zoom, the way we are having a webinar on Zoom, and all other such platforms. Some believe that this planned and rapid move towards online learning with practically no time for training, poor internet bandwidth, and a little preparation will result in a poor user experience, which could be unconducive for growth. But many also believe that this new hybrid model of education will emerge with significant benefits. Many faculties feel that it is very easy to reach out to students through this online techniques, especially during this pandemic. And they are convinced that if traditional offline learning and e-learning go hand in hand, we are bound to move towards success and overcome any kind of such pandemic. With this in mind, sir, we are waiting to hear from you. Before we start, sir, we have with us the Vice Principal of Thakur College of Science and Commerce, Degree Commerce, Mr. Sachin Kambi, sir. So can I please request you to welcome the audience?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Rupal, ma'am. A very good evening and a warm welcome to all. I welcome our distinguished speaker, Dr. Hiren Dand at Thakur College of Science and Commerce, Department of Management Studies, to the third day of 3-day national webinar series titled Innovative Business Management Practices. I also welcome all the delegate participants to my business management webinar, where we shall discuss on rising influence of e-content development and its practical applications across all sectors. The pandemic crisis in front of us has resulted in lockdown of businesses, factories, industries, people, education, and due to this, companies took innovative approach on sustenance by initiating work from home. This COVID-19 threat also resulted in school and college to shut all across the world. As a result, education changed dramatically with the distinctive rise of e-learning. Teaching is undertaken on digital platforms. With this unexpected shift from the classroom, many are wondering whether the adoption of online learning will continue to persist post-pandemic and how such a shift would impact on a worldwide education market. Even before COVID-19, there was already high growth and adoption in education technology. Students had started preferring e-learning over or with classroom learning. Today, almost every student has an access to internet, thus access to e-content in is easy and much more feasible as compared to the conventional way. Because of this, even the universities and institutions have started adopting such technologies. Best example of this is introducing smart class concept in schools and colleges, where the students are taught on project screen, which enhance their learning experience. Thus, the rising influence of e-content management by the teaching faculty plays a vital role in student education. Let us hear from our expert, Dr. Hiren Dand, on today's theme, the rise of e-content. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. That was really motivating and question to ponder over. We also have with us our Deputy IQAC Coordinator, Dr. Vineet Vaidya. We would love to hear from him about the quality assurances of the Tagore College of Science and Commerce.
Thank you
Vineet,
so
sir?
much, Rupal ma'am. Thank you so much. Honorable Speaker for the day, Dr. Hiren Dand, the Honorable Vice Principal, Mr. Sachin Kamli, all the esteemed members from the Department of BMS and other faculty members. It's my great privilege and pleasure to address all of you on this particular platform in the capacity of the Deputy Coordinator of Thakur College of Science and Commerce. The college began in 1992 with the junior college, which continued with the degree college, the commerce section in 1997, which was followed in 1999 with the science section. We went for our first cycle of accreditation in 2004, and soon in 2005, we established our IQSC. Since then, the IQSC is continuously doing the work for making the quality and maintaining the benchmark in the field of higher education. We have completed our 3 cycles of NAC with A grade. We have also been granted the status of autonomous college by UGC New Delhi from the year 2019-20. We have been also awarded as 2018-19 Best College Award by the University of Mumbai. And recently in the Education World Survey, we have been placed on the 55th rank in India, 13th rank in Mumbai, and overall 15th rank in Maharashtra for the best of the work what we are doing for the higher education. Even we have been awarded as the best edupreneur in the field of higher education by the Times Group. So relentlessly, we are working for maintaining the quality and acquiring the benchmark so that this particular journey is going to continue. With this brief introduction about the college and the work of IQSC, may I request now Dr. Rupal to please take over. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. It's always nice to hear good things about our college. Coming to our now, let us all introduce our speaker for the day. And can I please welcome Mr. Akshay Gawande, sir, to introduce the speaker to the audience. Akshay, sir.
Thank you, Rupal ma'am. Hello, everyone, and good evening. I am honored and privileged to introduce today's speaker of this session, who is an ocean of knowledge in IT sector. He is an accomplished author, an educationist, a guide, a teacher, and with wide and rich experience of 25 plus years of experience in education and corporate sector. He has been awarded Lifetime Education Achievement Award for his outstanding achievement and remarkable role in the field of education. So please welcome Dr. Hiren Dand sir. Dr. Hiren Dand sir is basically an electronics engineer from Mumbai University. He has done MTech in Information Technology from Allahabad Agricultural Institute, Deemed University, Allahabad. He pursued PhD in computer engineering on increasing energy efficiency of mobile phones by offloading tasks to cloud. He also worked at Computation IT India Private Limited as Vice President in the technology vertical. And now he is proudly associated with the Mulund College of Commerce as a coordinator of Department of Information Technology. He is also associated with the placement cells of the BSc and MSc students of this college. He also an adjunct professor and guide at Sri JJT University, Rajasthan. Under him, 8 students were registered for the PhD. He closely worked with the University of Mumbai on various capacities, and now presently he is a member of ad hoc board of studies in IT and member of syllabus committee of BSc and MSc IT at Mumbai University. He published many research papers on national and international journals. He is an author of various books on internet technology and many more, and the list is ending never. With this brief introduction, I would like to welcome once again Dr. Hiren Dand sir on behalf of Department of Management Studies of Thakur College of Science and Commerce, and hope we can steal some drops of knowledge of this ocean. Thank you so much. Over to Dr. Rupal ma'am.
Thank you, sir. So after hearing about Dr. Hiren Dand, I guess we should not be wasting more time. And can we have Dr. Hiren Dand to start the session?
Thank you so much. Thank you for the introduction.
So just 1 second. Can I please request all the delegate participants to keep their video and audio mode off so that we do not have any bandwidth issues? Towards the end of the session or during the session, if you have any questions or any queries, you can put it on the chat box and we shall take up the questions as time permits. Thank you so much. Over to you, sir. Hiren, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. So I would like to thank Thakur College, IQAC and Department of Management Studies for inviting me for this talk on the rise of e-content. So, yes.
Yeah.
So e-content development, the rise of e-content. Why suddenly lot of this talks on e-content everywhere? Everyone is talking about e-content. What exactly is e-content? Now we know the entire world is facing the pandemic and we really have to follow the social distancing. India has always been known as a social country where everyone would like to socialize and we always prefer to meet people, greet people. But in this time of pandemic like Corona, we are not able to do these things. And there is really, I was just reading a lot of messages on WhatsApp that how people, so many people have entered into trauma because of distancing, no socialization and all that. And our education field is really now going to change. We will now talk about before Corona and after Corona, like we talk about AC, AD and BC, now we'll talk about AC and BC, before Corona and after Corona. So now with this social distancing and a lot of norms to be followed, we have to think differently. As rightly said by one of the person here that yes, we will have to now follow blended learning. Yeah. Where we don't have to be just as a teaching in the class, we need to teach online also. Though online teaching can never replace the effectiveness of the classroom teaching, but with this new norm which we need to follow, we have to start thinking towards online, e-content. And I know that during this pandemic, every one of us has learned a lot of new things. So many people who might never have thought about teaching online. Many people remain away from technology have all now jumped into the technology by force, by choice, and by to explore. Everyone has jumped into this technology. What exactly is e-content? E-content, we can say, it can be termed as electronic content That includes text, images, graphics, animation, audio, and video. We have been doing this since the rise of WhatsApp. Many times we might have sent photos of lot of notes to the children. We attach PDF and send. Everything of that sort is an e-content. But when we want to define electronic content, it includes everything: text, image, graphics, animation, audio, and video. What is the objective of e-content? It should be able to effectively teach unlimited number of students despite no physical presence. In class, we may have a class of 60, 100, 120. We teach limited number of students. E-content reaches the world. Anyone can see our content and has to learn. And we are not physically present there. So whatever content we develop should be so effective that by looking at the content, by listening, by seeing, the concept should be clear. Online lectures we have been conducting. Of course, we are seeing this lecture which is directly on Zoom. Then we have Google Meet, Microsoft Teams, LARC meetings, Cisco WebEx, Say Namaste. All these things have now been made free. In fact, Zoom also made it free for educational institutes and took away that 40-minute limit. Google Meet recently made it free for all, and when we have Gmail ID, we can use Google Meet. Microsoft also made it totally free by giving Teams free to all the educational institutes. LARC meetings, Cisco Say Namaste is very much Indian app. These are some of the tools. Many more are there, but these are few popular tools. Zoom being very popular because of its simplicity. Zoom has been here for a very long time, and as a result, it has been master of this thing, and it is very simple to use. Google Meet, all the other things are equally simple, but because of its existence for a long time, in between there was a lot of things that Zoom is collecting data, and there is a lot of security issue with Zoom, but anyway, they came out with updates, and now things have settled a lot. So there is no problem in using Zoom. Many people had a lot of apprehension in using Zoom, but they have updated everything. Besides that, Zoom is a US company. Some of the developers were from China. So it is not that we are using Chinese things, it is very much US. Google Meet, of course, Microsoft Teams, LARC, Cisco, and Say Namaste is Indian app. We can also go online with all these tools. With all these tools, we can go online. Zoom, Google Meet, Microsoft Teams, LARC, Cisco, and Say Namaste. Besides that, we have GoToMeetings, YouTube Live, Facebook Live. At present also, we are live with the Zoom, and the session is going on YouTube also, on YouTube Live. What exactly we are going to do when we talk about content development? How big should be the content? What should be there? What are different types of recordings? Nowadays, our mobile phones are equally capable, like more capable in fact than our laptops or PCs. Because we see mobile phones having RAM of 6 GB, 8 GB, and a lot of memory also. And we store a lot of storage facility. The CPUs on mobile are hexa-core, octa-core. In fact, on our laptop or desktop, we might have quad-core CPUs. But our mobile phones have hexa-core and octa-core CPUs, 8 cores. So which are very powerful, or at least equally powerful like our laptops or desktops. So in a lot of recording things we can do directly. We can record audio. We can shoot a camera presentation to our mobile. We can shoot onboard teaching. We can shoot on-paper teaching, because now we are locked. Suddenly the lockdown was announced. We may not be prepared. We may not have board at home and all. So we can even write on paper, shoot it, record it, and make e-content. And we can record mobile screen, whatever we can do on mobile screen. I will be discussing few of the software which can be used. Of course, there are n number of software, but minimum what we can use and create a very good e-content, we'll be discussing that. So we can record the mobile screen and teach from that. And then all this after recording, we can edit and finalize the videos. by using different software. The e-content development is a process. Like a normal content development, our e-content development is also a process. So let us understand what are the steps that e-content development process contains. What are there are 7 steps in e-content development process. What are these 7 steps? So, and of course, while developing the content, I'm sure all of us know Bloom's taxonomy. So that applies to e-content also. Whatever text we may generate, that also is there. So that applied. Besides that, certain additional steps we need to understand. First of all, whenever we develop e-content, a simple concept when we explain in a video, ideally it should not be more than 10 minutes long, unless we are explaining something very long, which can be 30 minutes, but not more than 10 minutes is ideally what the experts have suggested. One concept can be easily explained in 10 minutes. How it differs from classroom teaching? In classroom teaching, we repeat things, we see that everyone understands. When we develop this online teaching, people can replay the things. So we don't need to repeat everything what we are saying. Once we teach in a proper way, then they can repeat, they can listen n number of times and get the things clear. If they could not understand in the first attempt, they can listen multiple number of times, because there is no limit, n number of times they can listen to. So if we develop something, and also it takes almost 7 times longer time to develop e-content. If we have to give a lecture of 1 hour, we need to prepare for 7 hours to develop that e-content. So it is a long process. The first step in the development is analysis. What is analysis? At this stage, we should be able to analyze the learning content. Profiles also of the people that which we are targeting, and what are the objectives of learning. So once we take up the course, we need to pay attention to the kind of task that the course is meant to accomplish. Based on the information, a proper instructional strategy is created to be able to come up with instructional strategy, and people should come up an excellent way of presenting the content. Whatever content is presented, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So whatever concepts we are explaining, if we can support it with some good amount of pictures and develop excellent content, that will help a lot to people. So in the first analysis step, we need to do all these things. The second comes creating the instructional design document, IDD, creation of the instructional design document. What is this instructional design? That is where all these taxonomies and all come. The instructional design document is a high quality plan of whole instructional approach of the course. Some of the most common procedures at this stage include solving problem scenarios and avatars. In this stage, it is also decided how the content will be broken down, whether it will be into courses, scenes, or even modules. So as I said, suppose you want to teach something very long, we can decide in part, we can break it down to 10 minutes and then release it as a separate video, or we can have a combined video if we feel at times in some class we want to telecast our own video and we want to take a 2-hour class. We can combine that. We can release it separately or combine it also. In situation where several courses are supposed to be created, each course has to be created using unique instructional design strategy. For example, an IT course may be created in a different way. Management course will be created in a different way. Mathematics and accounts course will be created in different way. Because everything what we do for IT, where everything can be online, we can show experiments online, but that may not be possible for mathematics and accounts, because to do everything online, we will have to do a lot of work where we the typing of this mathematical equations and all becomes very tedious. And accounts, people need big sheets to solve the problems. Then practicals which are not online. Of course, nowadays a lot of simulation software available for physics, chemistry, biology, everywhere. But still something if we need to demonstrate, we may have to develop different types of content. So what we will need for developing this instructional design document, we will need a lot of people from web designers. You know, nowadays a lot of students are free and they really do amazing tasks, amazing web designs. So we can always take help from them and tell them that this is our idea and you want some good designs. And from that you can select a good design and then proceed. Next, what we need to do, we need to script. In this scripting stage, the content to be used for each course is finalized and divided into modules. The content can then be used to each screen which we decide. The document used for scripting is usually a Word document, and even PowerPoint presentation also work. Even a simple PowerPoint is very, very powerful. With in the PowerPoint slides, we can embed video with the PowerPoint slide. We can convert after preparing a PowerPoint into video directly. It can be saved directly as MP4 video. That facility has been given in PowerPoint to convert the entire slideshow into a video. So if we have audio inserted and at the end after our PowerPoint is finalized, we can convert into video, it becomes a movie automatically. So we will need to develop the script. We may have in audio format, we may have it in written format. The next step is prototype development. In this stage, we are presenting the whole course using few slides. The content on the screen and audio are finalized. All the decisions are based on the presentation, on the content of the screen. Interactives to be applied. The colors, the images, and animations are all finalized at this point. During this stage, there is a lot of writing, rewriting, and revisions that are actually taking place. The prototype should be working on e-learning content management system. CMS, it is briefly known as. There are a lot of content management systems available, learning management systems, content management systems. Once we develop these our e-content things, then we can put it in our systems. So a lot of you might have undergone the training of Moodle, which is very popularly used, learning management system. Besides that, we have Google Classroom and Microsoft Teams also we have, where we can have a lot of content being uploaded. We can use it as learning management system also. So a lot of content management systems are available. Depending on our suitability, we can select any of them. A lot of them are open source, available free of cost. Moodle, in fact, is free. Google Classroom, we use it. So prototype, we first develop the prototype. Nowadays, audio has become much cheaper. But originally, audio used to be very costly too. If we record audio and then if you have to re-record, it used to be costly. But so initially, we can develop a course without including the audio because a lot of efforts are taken. If we are going to include audio at the very first step, the efforts may go waste. So we can decide if we want to record without audio, we can do that first. In this stage, a practical course without audio is submitted to all the stakeholders. The stakeholders are allowed to make changes to the content and narration. Once it is approved, the next step of creating audio begins. Originally, it was very costly to create audio and then recreate it with any iterations. So therefore, that time, audio file was created only when the audio script is final. And for us also, if we don't want to, it is texting, sitting, recording, and then again changing it, again recording is also texting so far also. Even though the tools are available, it may not be very costly, but the amount of energy spent in recording audio is tremendous. So if you want to preserve that, we can first get it checked from colleagues, from seniors, that yes, this is a script what we are going to prepare for the audio, it will be helpful. So initially we develop without audio, then we develop the course with audio. The moment the audio script is final, the final course is sent to the stakeholders for approval. The quality of audio and pronunciation are essential to be perfect. The audio developed has to be in sync with on-screen text and animation. Very, very important, Many times what happens, sometimes we want to embed PowerPoint, we automate PowerPoint. We think it will go and we will speak according to that, and it will be automated. No human intervention. Automatic slideshow is going on. But that many times create a problem because of some reason if the sync deviates. If we are not able to synchronize in between, then all the other slides will be either first over, and then we will be talking later on also. So synchronization between the on-screen text and animations and audio is very essential. So we have to concentrate that whatever is being shown, we are talking about it. And the final step, creating the learning management system version. As we just spoke about our content management system. We spoke about the content management system. Every learning management system has a different way in which the content is uploaded, the content is required. So the final stage, which is this creation of learning management system version, it is more mechanical and technical. The stakeholders have responsibility of checking if the course is learning management system compliant. Once compliant, it is ready to be hosted on learning management system and go live. So we will need some technical support, but of course if you request, a lot of students might be doing that. A lot of your colleagues might be doing this, uploading of the content using the content learning management system. So for that we will need to modify. A simple example, when we write a research paper, we have to change the format according to the way the journal prints it. In the same way, because we will be using different learning management systems, we will have to modify slightly based on the learning management system. So that is the process. Next, we will see what are the tools that we can use. See, these are just few listed tools. There are n number of tools besides this what we can use. But these are very simple tools. That is why I have selected these few tools to just see what we can use and create excellent online e-content or e-content for online uploads. What are these tools? Let us understand these tools one by one. The first tool is Lexis Audio Editor. We can create new audio records or edit audio files with this editor. We can save the files in desired audio format. Whatever we take, record, or we have already the files, we can take it and edit it. It is very good, simple. It can be downloaded on the mobile and we can use it directly on the mobile. Most of the tools which I have shown here are usable on mobile phone, because you may think that on PC we may need a lot of RAM capability may not be there. But nowadays mobile phone, and I'm sure most of us will be having a good smartphone. So that is enough to create our e-content. Lexis Audio Editor, create new audio records or edit audio files with the editor. Save the files in desired audio format. It has a recorder and a player. We can easily cut, copy, paste. We can delete, insert, trim, fade in and fade out effects we can give to the audio. Normalizing noise reduction. So we need to minimize the noise. Now what happens at times when you will start recording, the surrounding sound comes. So we can avoid that by using this Lexis Audio Editor, because it has an ability to suppress surrounding noise. record into existing file, import file into existing file. Both ways it is possible. It mixes the current file with another file. Compressor. It compresses the file. We can change tempo, speed and pitch of the sound. There are audio formats for Android and iOS, MP3. And there are wave format, FLAC, M4A, AAC and WMA, video audio import, MP4, 3G, 3GP and 3G2. Different types of formats are there. Whichever format is supported, we can save it there. And same for Windows also. It is available for Windows. We can use it and save in any format. Very simple to use software. The next software, what we are talking about, is Cinema FV5. Cinema FV5 is a professional video camera application for mobile devices. It puts professional manual controls on our fingertips. Tailored to enthusiasts and professional videographers and filmmakers, with this video camera application, we can capture the best footage with top-of-the-line controls for post-production purposes. The only limit is our imagination. See, once you download these tools from Play Store or App Store, it will be very simple. You can just play around with it for a day or half a day and you will be master preparing audio video. We see these days that how it was so easy. People started making TikTok and everything. How easy it is to make these things. So we can easily become professional with a little practice. Third tool is Open Camera. It is a fully featured and free camera app. What are the features of this app, Open Camera app? Option to auto stabilize the pictures so that they're perfect no matter what. When we click pictures, generally what happens that our hand shakes and the picture may become blurred. So with this Open Camera, it has a built-in feature. It will stabilize the pictures and perfectly, no matter what is being displayed. Expose your camera's functionality. Support for scene modes, color effects, white balance, ISO exposure, compensation lock, selfie with screen flash, high definition video, and much more. So see, so many things we can do. Handy remote controls, timer with optional voice countdown, auto repeat mode is available with configurable delay. We can repeat automatically. Option to take photo remotely by making a noise or by voice command. Cheese. Configurable volume keys and user interface. Upside down preview option for use with attachable lenses. So we know entire mobile phone industry, one industry of digital camera is washed out. There used to be Walkmans, no more Walkmans, everything in mobile. And soon it is replacing laptops also. Everything we will do from mobile itself. Overlay, a choice of grids and crop guides. Optional GPS location tagging, geo-tagging of photos. All of us know with NAC nowadays, every single photo has to be geo-tagged. So we need to do geo-tagging of photos. Our Open Camera allows us to do that. For photos, this includes compass direction, GPS image direction, and GPS image direction reference. We can apply timestamp, location coordinates, and custom text to photos, store date and time and location as video title as video subtitles. So we can easily give subtitles. So, you know, if we feel that we want to talk in multiple languages, whenever we change the language, we can have a subtitle. Or if we are recording in one language, we can have subtitles of other languages. Apply date, timestamp, yes. Panorama, including for front camera. Nowadays, we take panoramic photos, means we start and take 180-degree photos. So that has supported. And with this software, even our front camera will support panorama. Support for auto alignment and ghost removal and exposure bracketing. We can auto align, and if at all sometimes ghost appears, we can remove that. It has support for camera to APIs. So if you want, that is little technical, anyone wants to embed in any software, they can include open camera into their software also. So directly from there they can work, because API is available. Noise reduction, it includes low night mode and dynamic range optimization modes for better quality photos. Options for on-screen histogram, zebra stripes and focus peaking. Focus bracketing mode, completely free. No third-party ads in this app are there. So it is completely free, open app, and it is open source. Next, very simple app it is. Screen recorder. Both are available. Camtasia, Gillisoft for we have for desktops. We can record the screen on desktop. We can record it on mobile also. Even mobile screen can be recorded with screen recorder. A lot of screen recorders are available. We can use any one which we feel we are comfortable with. Now, what happens for people who want to show online demonstration and all? It is very good to show live demonstration, but at times what happens during live demonstration, things will not be coming up the way they are. When the demonstration is live, and suddenly we may get stuck. If the PC is going to get stuck, we don't know. It can happen. So what we can do screen recording. We can, for example, some practical we want to demonstrate, or some problem of mathematics or accounts, or wherever we cannot do without the board, we can record this session. We can record it in class, we can record it at home, and as tools are available after recording, we can display it. We can share the screen online when we have the actual lecture. So such tools are very useful. The free tool offers a range of features, including video recorder, screen capture tool, video editor, and record gaming videos. So DU recorder is one of the very popular screen recorder. DU recorder. It supports live streaming also, DU recorder. With screen broadcast feature, we can live stream to Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. We may stream gameplay to exhibit gaming skills, stream TV shows, films, sport events. Multiple features such as privacy settings, live audience, comments, broadcast resolution settings, etc., making the streaming quite exciting and interactive. So such a simple software and very elegant. DU recorder also helps in editing images and taking screenshots. The phone probably has screenshot capturing feature, but DU recorders one-click screenshots are a lot more convenient. And we could use it in app editing tools to add more flavor to system screenshots. We have taken the screenshot, but we want to add something. Nowadays, we have a lot of filters which we apply to our own images. If we take a photograph, we will make our skin lighter, and a lot of things we do like that. Same way, we can do it with DU recorder. The next software is KineMaster. KineMaster is a fully featured and professional video editing app for iOS and Android devices. The equivalent for on PC also we get is Filmora. DU Recorder is available for both, and even this Filmora 9 is available for desktop. Whatever we can do using KineMaster on mobile, we can do using Filmora on desktop. It supports multiple layer of videos, audios, images, text, and other effects. All the effects are available. It is equipped with variety of tools that let users create high quality videos. So if you want to create high quality video, we can very well use KineMaster. On mobile, it is advisable. Additionally, KineMaster videos can be instantly shared to social media platforms like YouTube, Facebook, Google+, and many more. It makes it very easy, particularly for professionals, to publish their videos and reach out their audiences. As we first saw in the definition, that what we want to do, we want maximum number of people, unlimited number of people to be trained to understand the concept. So this helps a lot. Then we have another one, which is mobile video editor. What all features of KineMaster? So it is a mobile video editor. It is supreme video editing. It does not have to be limited to desktop, laptop, computers. With KineMaster, we can easily do it on mobile. Multi-layered. Now, for those who have not anytime done anything with image, what is this layering? Now, let me explain in very brief what is layering. In layering, we will have one layer which will be background. On that, we have another layer where we will have front things. Then we'll have third layer. Like that, if anyone has worked with Photoshop or any image editing software, layered images are there. We can change the layers. One layer is there, the second layer can be changed after a while. So if we have to change any layer anytime, we can just work on that layer. So that is why this is also designed in layered. So we can have same way in audio and video also, we can have multi-layered videos. Long ago, when there used to be recordings, where people used to practice and everyone had to gather, and recordings were all happening live. Nowadays, what happens, even if it is a duet song, one person will go at his convenience, sing a song and go away. The other person will come and sing his part or her part and go away. And then the music director will use software and combine, and it will look like a single simple song. So that is because they use multi-layers. One layer with one singer, the other layer with other singer, and they combine both the layers. And then it can be used. So KineMaster supports multi-layered audios, videos, text, imaging, handwriting, everything. Next, we have feature as adjustment tools. When video's lighting is not how the user wants it to be at the time it was recorded, it can be easily adjusted with KineMaster. So suppose the video has come too dark on our face, we can use KineMaster and adjust the lighting. The application enables users to adjust their hue and brightness. These are little technical terms with image side, hue and saturation and brightness that can be adjusted, and similar settings for them to enable create consistent environment in their videos. Real-time recording. Recording audio and video can be done in real time right within KineMaster. This allows users to instantly add effects or modify video without having to wait for recording process to be completed. The same can be done with audios enabling users to add multiple tracks as they go. So, live, when we are recording, immediately we can add features, whatever we want. And next is we can have social media sharing. KineMaster is perfect for advertisers, publishers, influencers, and for people who love to showcase their creativity to the world. That is because they can share that video on social media channels straight from video editing platform, allowing them to reach their audiences swiftly. And today we know is the time when everything is on social media. So immediately, whatever, in fact, all the new phones, many of the phones come, the moment we click the picture, they ask us whether you want to post it on the social media, whether you want to put this on the social media. And if we want it, it allows us. It gives us option, of course. If we keep it in auto, then whichever we clip will be automatically on Instagram. It can be on Facebook, anywhere, wherever you want, it comes. So all those features are available. Besides that, which is not I have written here, is a video scriber. Now, many times if you have seen on YouTube the videos, it appears there is a person that hand moves and we can write it on that. So there is video scribing software are available, which can be used very writing. So we can use video scribers also. Video scribing is the moment we start, it will appear as if some hand is writing like a handwriting text. And a lot of features are there. And all these, are very easy to learn. Nowadays, it will be a tip. You practice for half an hour, 1 hour, half a day, you will be master in recording these audios, videos, and make a wonderful e-content. So nowadays it is no longer remained difficult because of the type of powerful mobile phone and the software. In fact, lot of software and things are available on mobile phone nowadays. If we see, many of you might be watching this lecture also on mobile phone, if not on PC. So a lot of things we can do on mobile phone these days. And lot of tools, powerful tools are available. So these are very simple tools which I have selected. But if you go and browse, you will get n number of tools. Every day a new tool, something comes up and new tools can be used and we can do live meetings. In fact, there is OBS and OpenShot. OBS, OpenShot. These are other tools to create elegant e-content. So we can explore that, But the ones which I listed initially, up to KineMaster, are very easy to use and can be used, learned in no time. The moment you start recording, you record 2 videos, and third time you will find out how to add more features, what best you can do out of that. And something like screen recorder, where you can record your things, the screen on mobile also. It really gives a good thing because you can, and also you can live telecast. With DU recorder, you can put it live also. But always we suggest that we put it, record it, and then we set, because at times things may get halted, things may not work properly. So what we can do, we can record it and telecast for live lectures. And our live lectures can be recorded. For example, the lecture that I am giving is being recorded. So that can always be done. As whenever the college reopens, 15 June, 1st July, or whenever, social distancing norm will have to be maintained. So we don't know when the students can be called to the college. Initially, teachers will be called, office will open, then slowly teachers will be called, and last will be the students, because we don't come under essential services, because we can always do distance learning. So our services as teachers are not essential services, though it is very essential to learn. But when the amount of crowd which is going to come, that cannot be allowed very soon. because social distancing, and we know what is the local train, what happens in local trains of Mumbai. Entire train, half of the Mumbai will become vacant if they are started. And that is why we have to learn how to effectively deliver e-content. Once again, just two things I would like to repeat is that first of all, there are unlimited number of users, unlimited number of students who are going to learn. We are not physically present in front of them. Secondly, whatever e-content we develop, we should try to keep the videos and all or smaller, because too lengthy, we know how the students would feel. They would watch small clips, they enjoy and they watch. And for anyone, if it is too lengthy, then they may pause it and it takes time. So if concepts can be explained in as fast as possible, the better they are. We see a lot of contents, entire video movies of 4 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes, and they give a very good suggestions. Their morals are there, very good stories they can, and they present that in 10 minutes, 7 minutes. So we can also present some concepts. We break it up and present into some concepts and make small videos which are enjoyable, which may pass the message what we want to learn. So that is how we create our e-content. Of course, recordings, as we saw, all those things are there. So that is about the rise of e-content. And the next year, in fact, next year or 1 year or 1.5 years is going to be the year of blended learning, where we will not be able to call everyone to college. Until the vaccine comes, we will have to follow certain norms. So these are the ways where we can make the learning interactive. Besides that, we can combine it with a learning management system. If you have seen Coursera, Udemy, there we can get everything. One user has watched how much of videos, how much he has completed, how many tests he has given. Besides developing this, one more suggestion is that we develop some tests along with that. So when we test, after each video, if we give some test, that helps in interacting with people. They feel, and immediately they will be happy to give the test and see what is their status. And every time we can have more number of questions. So every time when the user gives a test, he gets different questions and then he answers. And if possible, we can give the explanation of the answer. Why so and so answer is there. So each of our video can follow the test, where they can give the test and they can get the marks, get the explanation of their answer. Most of that we can develop as multiple choice questions based on what we have taught them. And that can be after a single video, or if it is very small, then maybe after 5 videos of 50 minutes or 1 hour, we can have this content building. So how we are going to test people next year, because even this time university is very difficult. How the exam will be conducted, it is not known. So we have to think innovative ideas. So online creation of examinations, how questions can be fired randomly, and the tools, what we discussed, can be used. Google Classroom, Moodle, then we have Microsoft Teams. All these things are going to help us to make our teaching very interactive, and a lot of things we are also going to learn along with our development and along with teaching the students by remaining at home, in college. We may be at college, students may not be there. We have classroom capacity, even if we have 120, we may not have all 120 students coming and sitting together. So that is why e-content is going to be on the rise. And it is really good that a lot of these companies have taken a step and allowed and delivered a lot of things free to all the educational institutes. So we must make maximum use of it and develop very good e-content, which will be interactive, which will help students to understand better, and it will be interesting. Because otherwise people will not see that. If we just record a video and we just keep on talking without anything which is very concrete. Sometimes that is also possible. Many of the lectures we may have to talk, but talk also should be interesting. So we have to develop that way, and it has to be kept short, as much short as possible. I cannot say that we have 2 hours lecture, we will teach in 10 minutes. No, we may have to do that in our lecture also, but interesting. So that is about developing e-content, the rise of e-content, which is going to be there. So thank you very much for listening to me for this almost 45 to 50 minutes. And I would request the organizers to take up a few questions and proceed further.
So much, sir. That was really very informative. Can I call upon Dr. Vimal Kumar Mistry for the question answer session?
Thank you, ma'am. I'm audible?
Yes, yes, you are.
Yeah. So the first question is asked by the participants. During development of an e-content, how we can take care of an plagiarism and ethical issues?
Yes, yes, that is very, very important, very nice question. We have to take care of plagiarism. Besides plagiarism, we have to take care of our copyright. We can just not copy the content of anyone. We cannot just live from internet and say that it is our content. Yes, we will be using some books. We will be referring. We have to give due credit to them, but we cannot just live the content and use it as our content. So we will have to develop our own content. Whatever we do, we may use definitions from the books where the things cannot be changed, but other things we will have to develop our own. And wherever we use someone's content, we have to give due credit. We cannot just plagiarize and be happy that yes, we have developed the content. And at the same time, we are also worried that whatever content we have developed is our own copyright. We have to get it copyrighted. But then again, it stands for book. We have to copyright it. Anyone should not be able to copy it. We can file cases against anyone who has copied. But we see there is a lot of piracy also which goes on with movies, with books. We also Xerox a lot of books. But yes, we have to mention our copyright laws and we have to get to it. And we cannot just copy the things. We have to be careful. We cannot plagiarize things.
Yes, there is a need of an hour for us all as a faculty to make sure this kind of a problem doesn't we create at the time of creating a e-content development. One more question is there asked by one of the faculty member, how to reduce the size of an e-content video without affecting its quality?
Yes. This all the software which I have shown for video, they automatically do the things. Besides that, there are conversion software. We can use converting from one format to another. Nowadays, MP4 is the most compressed format. So we have in all this thing, we can save it in different formats. So if we choose the format of MP4, we can save it as MP4, which is much compressed format, and it gives good quality also. Like initially we had MP3 in audio, equal good quality and low content, low size, and the size is very low in MP3. Same way MP4 also helps in having low, very good content, good quality, but the size will be smaller because a lot of compression algorithms they have applied so that it is not lost. I just got one question I just saw in the chat that in KineMaster it gives the background, but if we don't want, we will have to purchase it because they will not allow us to eliminate KineMaster's background. It comes as a watermark. Yes.
One question is asked by the faculty. Is there any software which can convert our text into the audio?
Yes, there are a lot of software these days. In fact, we have in our Windows itself text to speech, so it reads. But the only problem is when it reads, it does not understand. It will read very monotonously. For example, here one question I'm seeing, I will just say, how can we incorporate practical based courses into e-content and give students the same kind of experience? Means it will not have any emotions when it is speaking. So though a lot of thing is being worked on that, lot of AI tools are being developed where the software will still come. But as of now, it is like that it is not that interactive. It becomes very monotonous and people will just may go to sleep if they listen for 10 minutes. So tools are there. Text to speech on Windows also is there. But that emotions is not there. When to take a proper pause. They may take a pause at full stop, but the reading is very monotonous.
Is there any special training is required by the faculties or anyone who wants to create or develop an e-content for the teaching learning session or the other category of an audio or the video preparation?
Nowadays, with these tools available, hardly any training is required. We can make it very interactive with these tools. We can start recording whatever we say. We can record it, whatever type of tools you want to use, we can use it. And we can start right from now, download some tools and immediately use this. So they're all simple tools. You can get n number of video tutorials also, you will get all the tools. Suppose you have some difficulty, you can just Google it. Immediately you will get. Of course, I'll share my email ID and mobile number also. You can always WhatsApp and ask. But n number of tutorials are available. We can get going immediately from it. One question I was just reading here: how can we implement this to conduct subjective type of exam? Certain tools are still there for conducting subjective exams, but the thing is that assessment will have to be done manually. We can implement plagiarism software to check the similarity once again, but only problem with subjective type of exams that it is very easy to copy and paste it. So we can do that, and there are plagiarism software also available where we can test that how much content is similar. So assessment can be online also, but mostly we will have to read, because if we know that if we see the model answers and start assessing papers, it will be very difficult to pass the students. So if we compare with model answers and the subjective test will compare, almost it will not find a lot of similarity and may fail everyone. So we may have to do, or even Google also allows subjective type of exams. The questions, we have options to have descriptive answers, but then the assessment has to be, we'll have to manually assess that. Objective questions will be assessed automatically. Subjective, we will need to assess them. Yes.
Thank you, sir. Last question for the session. How can we incorporate practical-based courses into e-content and give the student the same kind of an experience?
Yes, I read that. Now, in practical content, lot of virtual labs are available. If it is a practical, I'm talking especially in IT. And for other things, there are a lot of simulating softwares available. So with IT, if at all you're talking about computer science and IT and all, a lot of virtual labs are available. What we can do, we can record the screenshot, we can do the entire screen recording. Students can install the software. Most of the students would have the facility. If they don't have the facility, then there is an issue, but at least 90% of the students would be able to install the software, and whatever screenshots or recording we have given it to them, they will be able to practice. And nowadays, a lot of compilers are available for mobile phone also. So if not on laptop or PC, they can do it on mobile phone also. So we can demonstrate the entire practical online by taking screenshots. Every single step can be demonstrated, and we can host the video and the students can do that.
Thank you, sir. Now I hand over the part to the Rakhi Pathak ma'am. Ma'am, please take over.
Thank you, Dr. Vimal. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Very good evening to everyone connected with us. It is my privilege and honor to propose a vote of thanks today and conclude this 3 days national webinar series. I'm sure you have thoroughly enjoyed our specially curated sessions on innovative business management practices. Our key resource persons have set the stage rolling and given us a sound footing on the various business fundamentals and developing cross-functional business skills. Our eminent resource person, Mr. Bankim Mistry, President of Bombay Small Scale Industries Association, gave a comprehensive view of corporate social responsibility in times of COVID-19 on day one. C.A. Vinay Goody, Assistant Professor, Mulund College of Commerce, gave an insight on impact of COVID-19 on India and the global economy. On behalf of IQAC and Department of Management Studies, Thakur College of Science and Commerce, I would like to take this opportunity to thank our remarkable resource person today, Dr. Hiren Dand, Coordinator of Department of Information Technology at Mulund College of Commerce, for conducting this session on the rise of e-content. Sir, we are humbled and honored by your esteemed presence today. The most important takeaway from this session and in today's time is online learning, developing e-content with a new dimension. You gave us insights on various online tools like Lexis Audio Editor, Cinema, FV Lite, Open Camera, and the DU Recorder to develop video-based lectures. Sir, we have understood the nuances of the e-content development process and its natural progression to the learning management system and blended learning, as rightly said by you. I'm sure we are now equipped and ready to explore the digital platform of both learning and teaching in the days ahead. Thank you, sir, for sharing your knowledge and keeping the participants engaged. I would also like to thank our management at TCSE for giving us this platform to host this webinar series. A big thank you to our dear principal ma'am and chairperson, Dr. Chaitali Chakravarti ma'am, for being the radiating source of inspiration and encouragement, even in such turbulent times. In addition, we are grateful to our conveners, Dr. Santosh Singh sir, Coordinator IQAC, Mr. Sachin Kambli, Vice Principal Degree Commerce, Dr. Ajagekar, Vice Principal Degree Science, and Dr. Vineet Vaidya, Deputy Coordinator IQAC, who's present with us in today's session as well, and to Dr. Girish Tere for his invaluable technical support. An event of such magnitude would not have been possible without the able leadership of Mr. Vivek Wankere sir, Coordinator BMS Department, for conceptualizing this webinar series, guiding us through and its successful execution. Thank you, sir. Thank you to all my dear colleagues of the organizing committee of the series possible and successful. A big thank you to our dynamic BMS students core team who has been working tirelessly behind the scene, coordinating this event. And not to forget our dear participants who have joined us from near and far for being with us for the last 3 days. Thank you for your interactive participation and encouragement. Please continue to support us in the future as well. Thank you so much and stay safe.